Modern day French house or thoroughly crafted future funk, whatever you want to call it, FIBRE's intergalactic dance banger 810 is out on vinyl record, and today I want to take a look at not just the physical we have here, but a breakdown of the album as well, from what makes the track list so damn groovy to some interesting notes from the artist himself. 810 was created over a 1.5 year period, and its lengthy creation time proves worthy in its stellar production value. Finished on his 18th birthday in 2016, 810 digs into some obscure music and presents it to a bigger scene by mixing original production and sample-based content. The album would end up introducing the ambitious young producer to some exciting opportunities. I met some of my best friends, traveled thousands of miles across the US and Europe for tours, helped run Future Society for a year, started my own record label, and more. Originally dropped on the well-known Business Casual label, 810 came out in September of 2016 and was met with praise due to its catchy blending of melodic vocal samples, liquidy and crunchy bass lines reminiscent of that French house era, and dynamic drum mixing, a well-knit sweater of comfy, cheerful, spacey sounding new disco. FIBRE sampled a lot of underground disco tracks on here, and also some unusual samples like a track from an early 2000s Weather Channel, stuff that you would usually see on a more like traditional Vaporwave kind of project, nothing really on something that has as much energy as you see here. At least I haven't seen that. The tracklist is short in its runtime, but don't let the quantity get you down here, as 810's dedicated quality glistens in a community that can sometimes see some unoriginal sampling, mediocre drum EQing, and lazy chops. The original release on Business Casual contains 6 tracks, while the deluxe version contains 8 tracks, an extra bonus and remix track thrown on there. For anyone who's a fan of the old French house, French touch days, as well as future funk fans, and want something more than the stereotypical future funk sweet tooth effect, that's what I like to call it, you know, where like every song is just glued to the 128 BPM and just contains random jabs of anime samples that kind of get boring after a while and annoying. 810 is a beautifully crafted, original collection of tracks that'll keep you grooving from day to night with its powerful energy and crystal clear direction. One thing I really love about FIBRE's 810 is how he pretty much did everything himself on here, not just producing the songs, but the mastering of each medium the album was put on, and even the album artwork. FIBRE completely submersed himself into his release of 810. It was an album that meant a lot to him, more that may meet the eye from its upbeat and cheerful personality you get from it at first impression. It was a massive turning point in my life. I consider it to be the point where I started seriously maturing, taking on a lot of work, going to college, and thinking about adulthood. So yeah, as I just mentioned, FIBRE also did the vinyl mastering for what I'm holding right here. Coraspect Records pressing of the album on 150G dark blue vinyl. And while the album digitally sounds great, I was curious to see how it would all sound translated onto vinyl, as FIBRE would end up using different masters for each type of medium he dropped the album on. Coraspect would end up dropping 300 copies of these on vinyl, 70 copies of it on chrome cassette, and 50 copies on CD. The release also features 2 bonus FIBRE tracks, Digital Light and Jupiter Love, which were previously unavailable anywhere. Heavily researching the engineering process for vinyl mastering, FIBRE completely redid everything originally done upon its first release to put onto this record. Another interesting fact to note, FIBRE also did the mixing for Ev.exi's Remember, another colossal future funk release under the same label. And I was really impressed with Coraspect's release of Remember. The whole production process seemed very well handled for the new and upcoming future funk label, as the whole package seemed super high quality and everything sounded great. With big expectations for 810, as they've set the bar pretty high with Remember, I was excited to see how everything would end up sounding. There's a lot of promise with this thing. With a nice little extra attention to care, 810 over here comes in a pretty durable poly sleeve, similar to what was given to us with the Remember release as well. High quality printing on the album artwork as well to really match up with that dark blue record, making the original 810 cover change in time from day to night. I really appreciate the preparation taken for the record, as everything is sturdy and strong, from the jacket to the weight of the record and everything in between. Comparing this to other records in my collection, it just feels like this thing holds a lot of weight and stands out from the pack as a truly dense, trustworthy physical release. In regards to the pressing's creativity, I love seeing a darker, more humble color choice for a colored record. I find a lot of releases, especially in the vapor vinyl scene, they just jump immediately to the most out there, in your face, obnoxious and bright colors they can think of to really make the record pop on a player and look all pretty. But 810 here is super subtle, and the darkness of the color choice combined with the thick, heavy pressing makes this thing look super clean and hefty. It obviously also pairs well with the darker tones of the artwork as well. Try throwing the record up against the light to reveal some interesting effects. I'll let you try that one out for yourself. FIBRE's masterful production and knowledge of audio engineering shines wonderfully on this thing. Following up from his work on Ev.exi record with Full Force, tracks like Echoplex featuring Tendencies is a great example, as that high melody separates itself from the mid-range sample, all giving a great amount of room for those pumping kicks and bass lines in the low. It sounds roomy, atmospheric, and intensifies that intergalactic flangery disco charm we saw all the way back on the original release. If this pressing didn't have these bonus tracks on here, it definitely would have been pretty short, and that would have been a con to call out for it. But I mean, they added some extra tracks on here, so you do get your money's worth in regards to time on a record pressing. And like I said before, the quality of the album and the record is great, so it's a win-win here. With only 300 copies, I don't expect an album that sounds like this to last for too long. Happy I'm able to add one to the collection. I was also sent a test pressing in the past from FIBRE and Coraspect for this album, which was absolutely awesome to receive. It's really cool seeing how these things start out and what they end up to be. I've never owned a test pressing before, so once again guys, thanks for sending me that. I'm gonna link the record in the description of this video if you're interested in picking one up. I highly recommend checking it out if you're in the mood to groove. I'm excited to see what else comes out of FIBRE in the future, as well as Coraspect Records, as I really love how much attention they're putting into their releases. If you pick this gem up, let me know in the comments and your thoughts on the release. Much love, your boy, Pad Chennington.